Northwest 65th Street as Post and Delete Street, Northwest 66th Street as Chase Money Street, Northwest 67th Street as Born and Raised Street, Northwest 68th Street as Big Money Baller Street, Northwest 68th Terrace as We the Best Terrace, Northwest 69th Terrace as Still the Baddest Street, Northwest 69th Terrace as Trick Love the Kids Street, Northwest 70th Street as It's Your Birthday Street, Northwest 71st Street as Bad Boys Street, co-designating the following roads between Northwest 18th Avenue and the jurisdictional boundary in the city of Miami, Northwest 62nd Terrace, welcome to the MIA Terrace, Northwest 63rd Street as I Love My Dog Street, Northwest 64th Street as I Deserve It All Street, Northwest 65th Street as Closer to My Dream Street, Northwest 66th Street as Tunnel Vision Street, Northwest 67th Street as Welcome to My House Street, Northwest 68th Street as You Go Girl Street, Northwest 68th Terrace as Grind With Me Terrace, Northwest 69th Street as Lovers and Friends Street, Northwest 69th Terrace as Peace in the Hood Street, Northwest 70th Street as Run in the Yard Street, designating that portion of Northwest 71st Street between Northwest 17th Avenue and Northwest 18th Avenue as No Pain, No Gain Street, and co-designating a portion of 18th Avenue between Northwest 62nd Terrace and Northwest 71st Street as Memory Lane Avenue.
Eliminate Memory Lane Avenue. The commission would like that amended.
Mr. Chair, those are your public hearing items. We do have some requests for bifurcation and potentially some requests for amendment at some point. Senator Garcia would like to bifurcate item 5F, and Commissioner Cohen Higgins 14A1 and its supplement.
5F is, Garcia is 5F, right?
Yes, sir, and it's for an amendment if the sponsor is okay with it.
All right, we'll get to that in a second. And then 14A1. Okay. All right, we do have some speakers signed up to speak, so I'm going to go ahead and open up a public hearing. Any other bifurcations? All right, so I'm going to call your name. Please come to the well. You'll have 1 minute to speak. Stay on topic, please. State your name and address, and you may begin speaking. Taria Smith-Lewis, Kenneth Kilpatrick, Sharon Frazier, Mr. Roy Hardemon, Theophilus Williams, Broadway Hardwood, Carl Henry Isidore, Wiley Walter, and Margaret Porter. You may state your name and address, and you have a minute to speak. When I say thank you, by the way, y'all know the drill. Go ahead, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Taria Smith-Lewis. My address is 1337 Northwest 100 Terrace, Miami, Florida 33147. I am the proud mother of Mike Smith, slip and slide artist and hip-hop artist whose journey reflects the resilience of culture of Liberty City. I stand before you today in full support of Commissioner Hardeman's initiative to rename streets in honor of Miami hip-hop legacy. Why? Economic and cultural impact. Hip-hop drives the local economy. Hip-hop contributes billions to the U.S. economy, and Miami's culture plays a major role in that. Renaming streets will attract tourists, businesses, and investments to Liberty City. More visitors mean more revenue for local shops, restaurants, and event venues. Job opportunities for the community. Recognizing artists like my son, Mike Smith, inspires youth.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Thank you again, Commissioners, for allowing me to my illustrious Commissioner of District 3. Thank you so much for bringing this agenda item 11A2, which has now been changed to 14A1. I appreciate you guys bringing this. I have always gotten coming from District 3, Barbara Jordan District, and coming from District 1, coming down to District 3. Since I moved to District 3, I have been heavily involved in the Model City CAC. This is, they say, make it make sense. Well, this makes sense, that we also want to be in our neighborhood, in our community, work, play, and eat. Last Sunday, I went to Cayocho. I spent money. My kid's father is Cuban, so I had to adjust to his culture as a Black American woman. But I'm asking you, Commissioners, to please support this. Make it make sense. Fair is fair. This is our community, and we need to stay engaged in our community and do things in our community. I'm tired of driving and spending my money in other communities, which I don't mind, Commissioner Garcia, because I go to Hialeah a lot, spend a lot of money in Hialeah and Miami-Dade. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thank you, Sharon. And even right on time. All right, Kenneth Kilpatrick. Go ahead. Oh, well, go ahead. Actually, yep. Go ahead.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mayor. First of all, I want to say 18th Avenue is long due for what they need. When I ride through Wynwood, everybody out having fun, doing what they want to do. It's time now to put this to a halt and give us what we need to make our city look like others. On so long, we've been on a burn. We've been burned. And never, y'all receiving, but we not giving back to our community. So we want 18th Avenue to look like every other people that comes in here, development comes here, and y'all reward them to build and do others. We need the same treatment y'all give others. So I'm asking the Board of Commissioners, let's move this 18th Avenue in the right direction to let the people enjoy this community so that we can have something like others have. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Kilpatrick, can you say your address for the record, please?
5167 Northwest
Wait,
29
no,
Avenue.
wait. Who is this? Sorry. Sorry, Mr. Kilpatrick. May you say your address for the record?
Theophilus William, 1391 Northwest 95th Street.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Kilpatrick.
Good morning. Ken Kilpatrick, 5167 Northwest 29 Avenue. First, I note that 18th Avenue is the Broadway Arts District, which with it comes a reasonable expectation of art expressions that challenge our norms and force deeper exploration of their meanings. The street renamings proposed in this resolution accomplish the intended controversial impact and thought provocation that could draw the admiration of the arts community around the country and hopefully around the world. It should also be noted that the community is eager to see the comprehensive renaissance of the Broadway Arts District, and we expect that this will happen in accordance with the 18th Avenue redevelopment plan that was created in 2022. Final note is that I don't think it's the burden of the community to defend or oppose merits of certain street names. That burden is yours, and with that burden, we expect that the Broadway Arts District will be controversial enough to attract tourists and the arts community abroad, and smart enough to allow for expressions that expose the African American experience while clearing a path for community pride, integrity, and renaissance.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hardemon.
Good morning. Former Representative Roy Hardemon, Chairman of the Model City Advisory Board, Chairman of the Liberty City Democratic Club, and we're here to support this item because we have already started the economic boom in our neighborhood. This would bring a lot more focus on our area when we look at the fact that the every neighborhood from Wynwood to Cayocho to Miami Gardens, they have a cash theme. Our cash theme is going to be named after the different songs that our people created, and I think that's fair. And to allow us, we in the community, as African American, is begging the Board of County Commission, the mayor, which is our county manager, to take us serious about what we want to do for our neighborhood, and that's name these streets after these different lyrics, and have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Hardemon. All right, sir.
My first name is Broadway, last name is Harewood, 6214 Broadway Avenue. Like Commissioner Hardemon said earlier, the art was us crying out for something new, something better, something great. I could see the vision, I hear the vision, and I want to be engaged with the vision. So we, the people from this area, look forward to marching and standing behind our commissioner 100% because his vision is going to take us to a next level. We need to move the stick. Thank you, and please, by all means, don't hesitate to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hardwood. All right, we got Carl Henry Isidore, Wiley Walter, and Margaret Porter. Are you all still here? No? All right. Is there one gentleman coming up? No? All right. Public hearing is now closed.
Mr. Chair, I understand Commissioner Hardemon has a small amendment to the item.
Can I get to the item? Thank you, Madam Attorney. I will call it up first. 14A1, Commissioner Hardemon, you're recognized.
Well, I'd just like to say first, I appreciate everyone coming out to speak. Obviously, everyone didn't speak. Some people allowed other people to speak on their behalf, which I think is fine. Just to get it straight out of the way, the First Amendment that I want to make to this item is to delete the reference in the last sentence that says that in co-designate that portion of Northwest 18th Avenue between Northwest 62nd Terrace and 71st Street, I'm sorry, as Memory Lane Avenue. That shouldn't be there. So we want to delete that from this. Commissioners, we've had some discussion about this at our last hearing. For those of us that were present, we don't have a full board today either, but I wish that we did. Because there's a few things that I want to sort of make plain. First, I understand that in Miami-Dade County, we've named predominantly, the vast majority of streets have been named after people. And because of so, we even started to implement certain policies to ensure that we were naming it after people that met a certain regard in society. And so that's why in which we create this sort of policy that says that they must do this, they must do that, they must not be living, but two people from your district, there's a lot of policy around it, let's put it that way. Our rules don't sort of consider out-of-the-box namings, although we've done it. And I said to you to say, have many of you've heard the term Azuka, right? Who says Azuka?
Celia Cruz.
Celia Cruz. Celia Cruz was a bad woman, right? 1950s, she was at the height of her career, especially when she met the Tito Puente band, and they became something special. Now, what was different about Celia Cruz than most, as you would say, Cuban people who were in America?
Afro-Caribbean.
Her skin tone, right? She considered herself to be an Afro-Cuban. And so she would say this term, Azuka, right? And it was much to me in the same light as you would say the term, or as DJ Khaled would say the term, we the best. It's one of those things that they stamp on all of their music, even if it had nothing to do with the actual song. It's a symbol. But what did it mean when she said it? Who was she referring to when she said Azuka? So it was a reference to blacks who had been enslaved in sugar factories in Cuba. It was an acknowledgement of black people in a place where she was being really displaying her culture all over the world. My question to this board is, do you think that Miami-Dade County ever named a street Azucar?
Sure they did.
Some people saying no, some people saying yes. Well, I would tell you that on Calle Ocho, there's a street called Azucar. I think it was Bruno Barrero that named that street Azucar. Now, what's the distinction between Calle Ocho and Northwest 18th Avenue? Because it is night and day. Today it is, right? Calle Ocho is full of vibrancy, music, food, culture. You have ice cream places and cigar factories, many of them, places where you can just relax, and we enjoy tourism, and we send people there. And so I bring that up to bring reference to this, because this is, in a sense, our Azucar. No one fought this body when they wanted to name that street after not her name, but her music. Something that was recognized by the Cuban or Latin community for decades and still is. And so in our community, what we're seeing on 18th Avenue is we have similar music. Music and I want to say something about the music. Music is art, right? We don't question the art. We don't question, for instance, if you're the Mona Lisa, we don't question the Mona Lisa and say, well, in all actuality, her nose should have been a bit broader because during that century, the people who were native to that land would have had broader nostrils, and the artist wasn't being quite politically correct when he did it because she should have had broader nostrils. We don't make that sort of comparison. I'm asking you not to do that with the language that we choose to use in hip hop. And hip hop artists tend to use language that isn't always correct English, if you will. So, for instance, people will say in lyrics all the time, conversate. But conversate isn't a word. The word is converse. But the way that the song was made is how they go about using that sort of language. In the 1950s or so, during the time of segregation, 18th Avenue was the place to be. When people would travel down to South Florida, they would, especially people of color, especially our artists, right? So from anyone from Betty Wright to Harry Belafonte. I mean, these individuals would go to Miami Beach, they would perform, and when it came time for the sun to come down, they had to leave the beach. It was good. It was the order of the day, if you will. You needed to leave the beach. And so they were welcome in areas like Overtown, they were welcome in areas like Brownsville, and they were welcome on areas like 18th Avenue. 18th Avenue was the place to be. It had juke joints, and it had bars, and it had restaurants, and it had living quarters. I mean, it was a place. That's where they named it Broadway. Broadway came about. The official name of it came about in like 2006 when there was a commissioner named Dawn Rowe who decided it was not robbery to recognize the history of that avenue, and he named it Broadway. But not much came after that. There was no economic development. There was no great investment into the area. There was no push really to make Broadway a special place in our community. And so since I've been elected, that's been my mission. My mission now has been, and we're on the point now where we're moving on to the next phase of what it takes in order to bring Broadway to the 21st century and allow it to compete with other areas such as Wynwood and Overtown and things of that nature. And so what does it look like? I know people are looking at this. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I think the street naming of it has already proven itself to be true. That if you name all of these areas, if you name these streets in this community in such a way, it would invite a lot of attention, and attention we have gotten, right? We've gotten national news reporting on Miami-Dade County readying itself to name an avenue after music that is dear to the Miami people. And I'll say this about the music. Some people were wrapped around the axle about certain songs. Certain songs were said on the record that are not a part of this item and were never a part of this item. And then since the last item, some songs were taken out and put in. I'm not married to any of the songs on this list. I'm married to the purpose of what we're doing. The purpose which is to cause economic development. So for instance, if there is a song that or lyric or reference that some people don't like, I invite you to work with me right now to say, is there a way that we can change this one for that one? Maybe that one I would appreciate a little bit more and things like that. That's what this is about. It's about working together to help lift a neighborhood that needs this work. I am not beyond taking recommendations because I am not I'm saying hip hop, but it's not all hip hop that's on this list. I'm not a hip hop head, right? No Pain, No Gain by Betty Wright is not a hip hop song. Welcome to MIA is not a hip hop song. So there's songs in there that are mixed in. Lovers and Friends is not a hip hop song. But if you play this music to the people who are from this area, they are going to light up like it's the 4th of July. And so the essence of this is to encourage economic development in our community. The essence of this is to bring a light, to let people know that this exists in all of Miami-Dade County, and you should come and see it. And I think that where we are in this phase one, and this board has been a part of phase one, all of you, because you helped put and approve money to go to 18th Avenue. Right now, if you go to 18th Avenue, there's been a lot of construction happening. We have new bump outs for parking. We've reoriented the parking. We have plants that are planted in the right of way. We have new trees that are there. We have new lights that are installed. We have traffic circles that are there with beautiful trees inside that will grow and mature. The lighting hasn't even turned on on 18th Avenue. We're literally waiting to bring it to life. So this physical improvement, along with the street naming together, is a way of saying we support what's happening in this space to show people that we care about what this space looks like and how we introduce new people into the area. The second phase of 18th Avenue has to be the encouragement of investing into the structures that are in that area. So for instance, if you drive on 18th Avenue right now, there are many structures that are without proper, there are gaping holes in businesses and residences' roofs on 18th Avenue. We have to change that, right? It needs support. If you go to 18th Avenue right now, and I'll say this about the music, a lot of the buildings are already painted in that area after hip hop artists, full of hip hop artists. The same way on Calle Ocho. It's interesting. On Calle Ocho, there's a place where they play dominoes. And you've seen mayors visit this area from Miami-Dade County and the city of Miami and interact with those individuals who are playing dominoes there. It's part of their sort of thing. It's a cultural and tourist attraction at that space. Well, they do the same thing on 18th Avenue at Broadway Park. But I would dare to tell you that we've never had a mayor visit there to witness what's happening. So there are a lot of cultural similarities that happen between 18th Avenue and also Calle Ocho. But what we don't see is, and what we haven't seen and what we want to encourage is the total embracing of that space by this dais. And I think that if we are able to do that and include the music, include these artists, and what I intend to do is much like what Commissioner Gilbert has done in Miami Gardens, where you have one of the artists that we're putting his music on this avenue is called Flo Rida. And Flo Rida is an international known artist, and he's broken many records beyond what you all can even fathom. But he's a hip hop artist, so people don't talk about it. But he just invested, I think, at least $10 million in buying real estate, which is a commercial structure full of business storefronts in Miami Gardens. And so now it's like the first wholly owned black-owned commercial development in Miami Gardens, which is spectacular. What does it mean for Flo Rida to come to this space and say, you know what, maybe I'll buy a parcel there. Maybe I'll put a mixed-use development there. Maybe I'll have a place where, because they also have a Studio 183, which is another place that's of cultural significance to Miami Gardens. They took a place which I remember when it was a restaurant. It was called the Love. It was, what was it called? The Love Boat or something like. It was something like that. I think it was the Love Boat because I used to get
the Love
food
Boat,
there. Yeah,
like a Chinese restaurant.
the Chinese restaurant. It had great food.
But I think they might have had an issue.
I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
there. It was the Love Boat, but it's now a place that's affectionate to the area, and they go there for music and dining, and they employ a lot of people. I want that for 18th Avenue, and so you all will be helping me accomplish this by doing so. And I think that it is a novel idea, that it is out of the ordinary when it comes to street namings, but it is the right thing to do for this narrow entertainment corridor. And I'll say that and coach designations are not final. This is not something that if 5 years from now, even if we want to change a name in the next commission meeting, we have the authority to do that because they're street code designations. They're not cemented. They're not ironed in stone, and they're not things that are what would be offensive necessarily to the individual where the name is being removed. And so because of those things, I hope that I have your support. I wish to have your support, and I think the community wants to support. And I'll tell you, the individuals who spoke today, they're excited that we're talking about 18th Avenue. They didn't expect it to be such a long conversation about street namings, but I'm glad we had it, because the fact that we had it, it really exposed that there is a great need on 18th Avenue, and I think if we continue to pour into it, we can have a positive effect in Miami-Dade County and begin to do on 18th Avenue what we've done in places like Overtown, which literally has introduced nightlife and fine restaurants into a space that people would never come to. And so I want to do that to 18th Avenue, and they want it as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner from District 5, you're recognized.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Hardemon. This is kind of a very interesting and innovative idea. I saw the discussion, the lively discussion at committee, and I do appreciate the revised item. The only one that worries me as a woman is grind with Me Terrace. I don't want to walk down any street where somebody can say that to me without my permission, and I don't want girls and women. So if you can find a different song, you said you're not married to, and I did read the lyrics, so in this case, grind doesn't mean work. It means what we think it means.
Well, no,
So if you would agree that this is off and you would find a different street name for that particular one, I would be willing to support this, but I can't really vote for that particular street.
I will amend it. I will say that when you listen to the song is Grind With Me. Grind in our community does mean work hard, things like that. One of the artists on the song said grind on me.
Yeah.
And he wrote lyrics to that point. So that's what that is. But I don't mind making that amendment.
For me, it's just a problem. Thank you.
All right, so show that amended out.
And I'll trust you to pick something else. Thank you. You don't have to present it to me. Thanks.
I'll work on it right now.
Okay, he's working on it now. All right, Senator Garcia. No, all right, District
I
11.
do have one question. Commissioner Hardemon, on the Church Street, what would that, there's a church there on 6th, well, I don't know what street it is, but there's a church. Do you have the naming of that street?
Well, let me find out exactly what street it's 60 what? 66. She says 66 and 18, that's her church. That's right.
All right. Miss Frazier owns a church.
I think I'll look through it. I'll look through it. Thanks.
Tunnel Vision Street, I'm being told. So you only see Jesus, yeah. All right, Commissioner from District 11, followed by Bastien.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, you know, to the sponsoring commissioner, to Commissioner Hardemon, you know, I can't tell you that I support all of each and every one of the names, right? I can't tell you that I know all of them. I know some of them. What I can tell you is that I applaud the concept. And I think that whether this passes or not, in years to come, people are going to look at this as visionary. And I already know that, you know, Miami Herald's probably going to hit me for this, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. In the 13th century, something very similar was done in Florence by the Medici. You know, it was a time where there was a lot of turmoil, and, you know, the plague was out, the church was losing control, and you had this one family that concentrated on positivity and art. Controversial artists like Michelangelo, right? The Medici actually adopted this 19-year-old kid and had him explore his mind through art and impact people and actually bring people into the church. I think oftentimes we forget that while art is being made, it's highly criticized, right? You look at somebody like Edgar Allan Poe, and he died poor in a bar, yet he changed culture. You look at somebody like William Shakespeare, and, you know, now we look at him and we say, wow, what a genius. At the time, you know, they would say that he was writing plays for fools. So I think art is definitely a way that you can increase positivity. I think art is a way that you can express yourself out of negative connotations and out of a negative environment and make it positive. And I see what you're doing here, man. I applaud it, and I'm going to support it.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner from District 2, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As we like to say, Miami is the capital of the Americas. And more in the months ahead, people will descend here from all over the world. Why do they come to Miami? They come to Miami because it is a strange, diverse, inclusive, sexy place. And then I do believe that this item, these changes in Northwest 18th Ave will bring more culture to Miami. It will increase the allure of Miami, and that's what we want. We want a place that is always sizzling, that is dynamic, that is vibe, that has allure. And then I guarantee you, just like the commissioner from District 11 indicated, we will look at this and say, wow, this guy was right. He has vision. A vision for Miami that people from all around the world will want to pay money, buy a ticket to come and visit. Vive l'allure. Merci. Thank you.
All right. And I am being asked, I wouldn't normally do this, but I'm being asked to correct something by the person in charge of the estate of Celia Cruz. He says, when Celia used azúcar, it had nothing to do with the Afro-Cuban slavery and the sugarcane. The Omer, the person in charge of the estate of Celia Cruz, just
I wish we could ask Celia herself, because that's what the internet says. So,
I know. I'm just reading what I'm getting text. Commissioner,
I stand corrected.
You can have a seance.
You have artists on your speed dial?
I mean, he's not an artist. He's just in charge of the estate.
Got it.
But yeah, I got a few.
Azúcar.
Azúcar. Commissioner Regalado.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. And Commissioner Hardemon, I want to thank you for your thoughtfulness. You know, for those of us that know the area, we know that not only is the investment that Miami-Dade County is making in it way overdue, but that many people have tried to change it, right? So when we talk about what it's been and what it could become, to Commissioner Bastien's point, you know, I think we all recognize your vision. And it's one of those things where if you're not willing to risk the criticism that comes from the unusual, you have no choice but to settle with the ordinary, right? And I think that you've done that well. This is not something that I need to do in my district, right? I have a very different district. But I recognize that you know your district and you need to attract people there and create economic opportunity. And that is no different than the conversations that we have with the vice chair. When Keone talks about what is happening in Homestead and down south and the need to change those conversations, or when Commissioner Bastien talks about the need to bring housing and to bring economic development to her district. So I agree with my colleagues. I'm happy to support you. I'm not here to pick the songs, you know, that's on you. But I think that you're correct in that this will bring a movement. And that's what you need. You need momentum. You need something to effectuate the change, you know? And sometimes when you have a community like ours that has so many broken promises, you need to have something that's dramatic and unusual to break through the ordinary. Because people in some neighborhoods are just used to being forgotten. And if we're going to change that dynamic, we have to do something that is extraordinary. So happy to support you in this endeavor.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. No one else? Senator Garcia, and Gilbert, and then the Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Commissioner Hardemon, I voted against this last time. First of all, I hated that it came to us the way that it did, such a late hour, and I understand why you did it because of the timing for the completion of the streets. And second of all, I just didn't know that there was public input as it related to some of these street namings. And I appreciate seeing the public that came out here to testify in reference to what their vision for their community is. And while we are representative democracy and we elect our members to represent us, I think it's also important to make sure that we hear from the public and hear from the individuals and people who I respect. So I thank you so much for standing up and speaking on some of the streets. I too had an issue with the grind Grind on Me Street that Commissioner Higgins had a little bit. I mean, Higgins, so I appreciate you looking into that, and I understand the connotation and where it comes from and so forth. But I'll tell you, I take 17th Avenue many times to come from Northwest Dade to come down to Miami-Dade County, to County Hall. And I understand the plight of that community. I have gone to 18th Avenue, and I've seen the progress that you've been doing, that we have been doing there with that road that's being constructed. And we've been there a couple of times, and I've had the good fortune to be with some friends going down there, and we've had some conversations about what potential impact this can happen to the community itself. So even though I'm not a big fan of some of the lyrics in some of these songs, who am I to stand in the way of trying to do something innovative for your community and for your constituency? I think it's time that we try to do everything that we can to uplift communities, and I think this is something that will absolutely try to maybe start bringing people into that community, spending some money, and uplift the small businesses that are there as well. So I appreciate what you're trying to do, and I thank you. Just make sure that the street across from the church is, I think I saw it, I think it's We're the Best Way, I think was what it was.
It's closer to my dreams.
Closer to My Dreams, perfect.
Name of the street.
That's even perfect.
And this,
No,
and
that's
this
why-
song,
yeah, I-
and the exchange for Grind With Me, we can make people change.
That's perfect. So for those reasons, Commissioner Hardemon, and I will go ahead and support the item today.
Commissioner Gilbert.
Thank you. Commissioner Harmon, thank you for the item. I too wasn't here at the last meeting. I actually watched this discussion as I was, it was interesting because I spent time on 18th. So in a former life, I was the legislative aide to Dorothy Bendross Mendingaw at Broadway. I see you out there. So I'd never seen that much interest in 18th Avenue. I'd never seen it. I applaud what you are doing. And I know and listen to a lot of these songs too. I would note about the songs on this list and this concept that what I thought about was Miami-Dade County generally. Because my music, if you actually pulled up my title, I listen to Tidal, I have a lot of hip hop, but I also have some country. I also have some gospel. I have R&B. I have classical. It's my, you would think, you know, I have an eclectic music taste, but that's kind of our community. That's kind of our community. We're not one thing, and what makes us special is we're not one thing. This is just a part of us. This is just a part of us, and I see this as an appropriate expression. The other thing I would note to my colleagues, I've said this before, I'll say it again. If something has a uniquely district effect, it doesn't affect the broader county, it doesn't have a county-wide implication, I think it's appropriate to be deferential to the district commissioner who is elected by the people in the district. I don't know whether we do this in District 1, but I do know that you're really, to quote one of your songs, you own the streets, and you were born on those streets. You stay working in those streets, and I trust you to make the decision about those streets. And you said something at the last commission meeting I thought was completely appropriate, and it made me understand that you understand the scope of our authority as a board. You said, you know what, this is going to work, but if it doesn't work, we'll change it. It's a co-designation. We'll change it. I think it's appropriate for us to pass this, and I'm supporting this item.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to Commissioner Hardemon, thank you so much. I said it before, and I'll say it again. This is going to be one of those most consequential pieces of legislation I can be able to brag to my children about years to come, that I've actually sat in my chair and watch you defend it, watch you push it through, but more than anything, watch you represent your community the way they elected you to do so. Secondly, I just want to go back to something that Commissioner Raquel said that was very interesting. I know Colin Powell came up with the term, along with George Bush, shocking awe. But the term of art that you came up with today speaks volumes. The term that you came up with today was dramatic and unusual. I do believe I'm going to adopt that as part of my vocabulary when I see something that needs to be dramatic and unusual. What we're seeing today, based on the conversations and the feedback, is something dramatic and unusual. It's dramatic because the world hasn't seen such input from a community to bring about a shock/dramatic hit that'll force you to pause in your position, whether you're for or against. Secondly, this is unusual. Normally, when we speak of Miami-Dade County and we speak of the city of Miami, we're speaking of Wynwood, Design District, Coconut Grove, Coral Gables. We're speaking of all those places where individuals would board a bus, normally the double-deckers, and they would travel throughout Miami-Dade County with their camera phones and take photos for themselves. You have done something here, again, that will be told for years to come. Economic empowerment, economic influence. Now that tourists are going to know that on 18th Avenue, they can go and find these streets and take photos in order to show people that they actually stepped foot in Miami-Dade County is second to none, in my humble opinion, the best I've ever seen. So congratulations. I look forward to supporting this, and just let's celebrate this. This is huge.
Thank you, Vice Chair. All right, seeing no other speakers, you've already clarified. We have 5 minutes left to our time certain joint meeting with the Public Health Trust.
Can I say just one last thing? Not very long.
Bermuda, yes.
Thank you. One of the first black president of the United States was Barack Obama. The question I have for you is, do we have a street in Miami-Dade County named after Barack Obama? I heard some people say, and that gentleman says, yes. Most of us don't know where it is. Most of us didn't know it existed. And so I say that to you to say, we can do these one-off things that mean something, but many people won't. It's not enough buzz about it to really attract people there. I think this in and of itself has created enough buzz to really attract people to this space. And I would appreciate you all's support. And I would move to approve this item.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's been moved. It's been seconded. Commissioner, I do commend you for your innovative sense. Unfortunately, I have to stick to my original vote and be a no on this, but I won't argue on it. I do know that your heart's in the right place and you're doing the right thing for your district. But I just have to stay with my original vote for personal reasons. With that, all in favor, do I need a roll call? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. No.
And you'll
Right.
work on 68th Street?
No, he already did it, right? He already replaced it.
Yes.
All right, show the item passed. Congratulations, Commissioner. And Commissioner, the Vice Chairman is a co-sponsor of 14A1. All right. We are